What's up, everybody? It is Thursday night, and welcome to the Affairs of the Heart podcast, a show about love, sex, and relationships from a Black gay male perspective. I'm your boy DQ D Weezy, and as always, SoDebNair is here, and Easy Said, Easy Done is in the building. We have so much to talk about. Sheesh! I don't even think that we have had this many people waiting for us to get here. So we're so glad that y'all are here. Let's take a minute, read my shirt, take a deep breath, and remember who the fuck you are. Remember who the fuck you are. Take a deep breath, and let's get into the topics. If you're friends, if you're heartbeats, welcome to the Affairs of Heart podcast. We come together every Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, to talk about love, sex, and relationship from a Black gay male perspective. Now,
sometimes 8:15.
Sometimes 8:15 because SoDebNair needs that extra 15 minutes for a nap. But we are here tonight, and y'all already know why we are here. If you're joining us on Facebook, get your ass over to YouTube, but that's neither here nor there. And like, share, subscribe, and set yourselves up so you know when we are on. Now,
and turn those notifications on, and when you turn them on, make sure you hit all
notifications. Notifications. The chat is already live. Everybody is here. Everybody is tuned in. Everybody is saying, hey, there's a lot of SoDebNair fans out there, because we would not have gotten to our 1,000 subscribers without him. So we appreciate him. And
we got to thank Nosy Whole Live for that. That was
and Nosy Whole. I was just getting ready to say, and Nosy Whole Live. We appreciate you. But anyway, I think that we should cut all the chatter and just get right into it, gentlemen, because it is going to be a long night of discussion.
Oh my goodness! No, nothing. Just get right to it. Okay.
Before we do though, no, I think we should. I'm gonna tell you why. One, let people come in, but two, I've been educating the folks on Beyonce's internet about the gay Black people that's on the internet and around the world. And there's so much stuff going on. I know you guys are oblivious to a lot of these things because y'all not on YouTube like me and in the circles that I'm in, but there's so much going on. This just fell in our laps, and I was fighting. I was like, I want to say something so bad, but I was like, this will be perfect for the podcast. And so I kept telling people, I was like, I gotta wait. I have to wait because you guys have a lot of education that I just don't have on it. And I don't want to leave myself on the limb by myself with this. And I respect you guys' education on the community. And we probably feel different ways sometimes. So I wanted to make sure that this was something that we were able to do together because I think that this conversation is very important. And I want to make sure that while people are coming in here and while they're watching, because some of the Affairs of the Heart people are not on my channel, but I've been getting questions all week, and this hopefully, because there's a lot of people talking about it, we're kind of saying the same things. This is that we've been talking about since we've had the podcast, but I wanted to make sure that we did it together. So.
Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate that you decided to wait for us to have our community conversation regarding the topic. So thank you for that. Let's really just get into it from the very, very beginning. If you have been living under the rock and you don't know what's going on, we'll give you a recap. DaBaby did Rolling Loud concert a couple nights ago, and he decided to spit some very stupid rhetoric regarding HIV and AIDS and those living with the said diseases, as well as some other comments in regards to women and their private areas, as well as fill in what I'm missing, guys. It was HIV and AIDS, getting fellatio in the parking lot.
It wasn't just fellatio in the parking lot. It was men giving men fellatio in the parking lot.
Okay.
Specifically.
It was specific that men were giving men head in the parking lot.
I don't know how he has these details.
Well, I mean, when you get fellatio in the parking lot, you know details. That's all I'm gonna say. But
you know what's weird is one time when I was living in Maryland, Easy, you never tell me what the mall is. Or and you too, Dwayne. Where by the casino?
The mall
The
by the
MGM.
I think that's the one. But when one time I could not find my car. I couldn't find it.
Shout out to Black Diamond. Welcome. Sorry.
There was a girl in the park, and there was a girl giving a guy head in the parking lot. It made me think of this when I first seen this, but it was a girl in the parking lot giving him head. So,
I mean, that's what happened.
So I didn't know why it was specific for men to be giving men head in the parking lot. But it made me think of that.
Well, you know, if that's what you were just doing before you came out on stage, then that's the last thing you're thinking about. But anyway, listen, we're not gonna do this. I'm not gonna do it. I'm sorry.
Or did you mean to say the park?
Or the park, you know. But here's the thing. So
people do it regardless of your sex, age. Well, I mean, regardless of your sex or whatever. Like people give head in parking lots and cars and stuff. Like it just happens. So for him to be so specific about this is just a little. Go ahead, Dwayne. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, so this is what's transpired. He has said the disparaging things. The Black gay community, or the Black LGBT community, I won't even just say the gay community, but the Black LGBT community has been in an entire uproar. And here's what I will say about this, the beginning of this conversation, is this is not new for us as Black gay men, as the Black LGBTQ community. It's not like we pick and choose to attack, people that say rhetoric like this. We don't single them out. They single themselves out, number one. But number two, this is something that we fight on a daily basis, whether it is a singular situation or it's a publicized situation like this is. So this is something that we continuously have to do, is that we have to educate cisgendered heterosexual men. We have to educate cisgendered gay men. We have to educate cisgendered heterosexual women. We feel like it is not that it's our obligation, but we do this consistently. We do this all the time. We have to check them when they use the wrong pronouns and to be disrespectful. We have to check them when when we're talking about so many other different areas and aspects of the LGBT culture, period. So it's tiring for us. So at this point, people think that we're singling DaBaby out, and we're not singling him out. This is just a big publicized situation where you have just spewed so much rhetoric that is terrible that we now have to undo and make it very clear that we're educated, that we're smart, and that we know what we're talking about. So when you try to lump us in, for example, and I'll pull this out specifically, when he was talking about HIV and AIDS, when you're dying in 3 weeks, this is not 1980s. This is not the 80s when AIDS and HIV was rampant. I'm sorry.
Can you do one thing? Because no. Can you do one thing? Because you said cisgender. Can you explain what that means? Because there's people who don't know what that means.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to teach.
Yeah.
Cisgendered, meaning I am, like, for example, I'm a cisgendered male, meaning I was assigned a male, I was born male, and I identify as a male, a cisgendered, cis meaning assigned at birth, and that's what I identify as.
CIS.
Yes,
CIS.
Not cis.
Not cis. Cisgendered, yes.
Not cis with a snap and a.
Not a twirl, bitch. No, I'm sorry.
My bad.
I'm sorry. Thank you for that, AZ. Because
sometimes you got to throw in a laugh every here and there, because this subject can get a little
heavy.
It gets heavy. And it gets heavy because this is our lives. You see what I'm saying? It's not black and white for people. This is there are variations. There are different types of people, and so you have to be very clear. When I say cisgendered, that means I'm speaking of a cis man, the person that's been identifies as male, that was assigned a male parts. That's the same thing for a woman. So instead of saying, because you can be a trans woman, woman, you are a woman, but you have been you're transgendered, you've changed your gender, because that's who you feel that you are, and that's totally understood. You are that person, not that you feel. Forgive me. I'm trying to choose my words wisely because I don't want to offend anybody.
Dwayne.
Yeah,
don't get us in trouble.
No. I'm choosing my words wisely. And again, and here's the other aspect to this too. we're learning just like everybody else.
Absolutely.
But the difference is that we're open to knowing, to being taught. And
Can we stop there real quick?
Yeah, I'm
Because I
sorry.
think
I
that
know it's a lot. It's a lot.
no, yeah, you're good. But you said something that's very important. We're learning. We are gay Black men. We're learning like everybody else about the other letters of the LGBTQIA plus community. We're learning as well. So we are not preview or privy. What's the word I'm trying to use?
You're right.
Privy.
Okay.
We're not privy
to every other letter of the community. People assume that because we're a part of those letters, but we're learning just like everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to make sure that that's known.
Yeah, but the difference is we're teachable.
Yes,
and we're going to get into this a little bit later. But one of the people that out of the LGBTQIA plus community, the trans community is the community that fights for not only themselves, but they fight for everybody else. And I have learned over the course of this pandemic, being on so many different platforms and panels, I've learned that the trans community will fight for everybody, and they're getting sick and tired of defending Black gay men whom have other ideologies or other ideas or other ways and feels. And we'll get into this later, because we'll get into the conversation that T.I. had yesterday with I am Zoe. And what I
missed that one.
So T.I. So we'll get into it. So T.I. decided that he wanted to go live on IG, and he wanted to defend his statement in support of DaBaby. And in defending his statement, he decided to bring on a gay member of the community to have some kind of camaraderie or clout. But what Zoe did was made it worse. He has these eyes of this, because he's and not these are issues within the community. So he has these eyes of he made a comment a couple of months ago about he only dates DL men. He doesn't date gay men. He doesn't. But that's his preference. He has to understand that. But then what you're doing now, you're sitting there on T.I.'s live, just bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, because this straight man has given you a platform and a space to be able to speak on something that he thinks that you know about, but you're doing more disservice and disharm to the community because you're not able to really bridge the gap and really have the accountable conversation that T.I. deserves. But
let's use the word that needs to be used. It's problematic.
Well, the thing is, every time Zoe looks in the mirror, he sees a white woman. So that's that.
And that is a problem all in itself. That's a problem all in itself.
This is not Zoe's first time saying some problematic stuff in the headlines. He has done this continuous throughout the years, especially as his fame has gotten bigger. So if you look back at some of the stuff that he has said, like, he is not.
We don't go to them for education about LGBTQ plus people. We don't do that.
He just
I got your back.
Not for us as much as he claims to be. So yeah.
Anyway, I do. It is, and it takes. If you don't follow Hope Giselle, I mentioned this in our pre-show. We're talking about Hope Giselle, who is a transgendered woman. She's an activist, and she really laid. She's a beautiful woman and a beautiful soul, and the activism that she does is great. But all trans women are tired of having to educate Black gay men, educate cisgendered men, educate Black women. They're doing the work for us, and it's sad. However, let's get into. I'm sorry, I derailed the conversation because I'm really passionate about everything that we're talking about.
You're good.
It's just that this conversation can go so many different ways, and we're trying to. This may be a two-parter, people. All right.
Dwayne already said that before you said it, so that it might have to be that.
Yeah, this may have to be a two-part conversation so that we can really cover all the bases of how problematic a lot of this is for us in the community. I see some questions in the chat. in particular, I do want to bring this one up since we're talking about the transgender community for a second. And let me be very clear, none of us on this panel identify as transgender. So we do not speak for the transgender community. This is the level of education that we do have to a degree, but Google is your best friend. You can Google how to properly identify trans, how to properly address trans people, how to properly use pronouns. You can Google all of that stuff. Do your own homework. Don't expect somebody to tell you how to address them. You should be able to do the research yourself. If you truly want to address them, if you truly want to be friends with them, if you truly want to connect with them, do the research yourself. However, I do want to answer this question because it did pop in the chat. The genitalia reassignment surgery does not make them transgender.
Right.
Let's make that very clear.
Right.
Sexual genitalia, none of that makes people, whether they have it, maybe it's what they identify as. So, for example, if I decided to be a woman, that within my soul, in my body, in my spirit, I am everything of a woman. I have, and I start. It's not testosterone. If I start transitioning and I start taking hormone pills and shots and what have you, and then I have the features of a woman and I identify as a woman, and you ask me, well, how do you identify? Then you say, and I say a woman, then for all intents and purposes, I am a woman because that's what I identify as. It's not about the reassignment surgery. That has nothing to do with. There's two separate things. Genitalia and sexual identity, physical identity are two different things. So you don't have to know someone's, to answer the question, you don't have to know someone's genitalia reassignment because some people don't want the reassignment surgery. For a perfect example, trans men, women who become men because they feel more manly, masculine. They decide they want to be manly and masculine. They want to be a man, or for all intents and purposes, they are a man within themselves. A lot of them don't have the reassignment surgery because it is extremely invasive and extremely, tedious and painful for them to do the reassignment surgery for them. So,
and it's expensive.
Extremely, and healthcare does not cover.
It doesn't cover. It's expensive. So even if they decide they want to transition, it costs a lot of money for them to fully transition, because if it was a part of their health insurance, you probably will see more trans people actually get the job done.
Yeah, you do not. I mean, just like Rick said, welcome, Rick. He said, just say, hey, don't address them by gender. If you don't know them, allow them to tell you without speculating. Absolutely.
What's going on, Rick?
It's just so simple sometimes. But
it is. And
people want to take the back roads to do things.
I have so much anxiety going on right now.
Why?
Because I want to make this conversation just is a lot. And again, I've been holding this for days, so it's a lot.
It's a lot, but it's a good conversation, and it's a good conversation to be had amongst people that are willing to be educated, willing to learn, and actually have some knowledge to the topic of the conversation. So, DaBaby spits his rhetoric, gives some half-ass bullshit apology. I'm sorry, YouTube. I have to just say it like it is.
Well, start what he did first. I mean, you did what he said, the homophobic. I mean, he said the HIV thing.
We talked about it.
Then he said that. Yeah. So then he good.
So he gave several live apologies.
Yes.
That were rooted in,
it was a backhanded apology.
Yeah,
I mean, basically he said, "I'm sorry, wasn't an apology. You feeling the way that you feel about the comment that I made," which is not a real apology.
That's not a real apology at all.
Like, I'm sorry you feel bad for the things that I've said.
No, I didn't even see that one.
Yeah, he did.
That kind of sums up his apologies. Like that's how they were rooted. Like he apologizes for the way that we feel about his apology.
But then he did another one saying that they weren't dirty because his fans don't do this, and they don't.
And we talk about the things that he does himself. Like, let's talk about the things that he does himself, or the people that he's associated with. Like, it could have been a teachable moment where you could have educated your audience about HIV and AIDS and STDs and STIs but instead you ridicule people for having but like it don't make sense. And this is stuff that you've done yourself. You have whole songs where you talk about raw dogging girls. You're not promoting people. It's not a gay disease. Like this is not just specific to Black gay men and women. Like anyone can catch this
you
stuff.
know what?
Anyone.
Let's be very clear. Let's talk about the HIV and AIDS piece, really. Since we're here, let's be very clear about this. HIV, people, there are various ways people become HIV positive. It is not just a sexually transmitted disease. You could be born with it. You could be, there are various ways that people can become HIV positive. So to dumb down the HIV and AIDS epidemic and the fight and people that are living with it to a gay disease, that's number one. That you're stupid. You're absolutely stupid.
Well, we can't call them stupid.
Why not?
You call people worse on here yourself.
I'm sorry to listen. I'm sorry to this man. I apologize. If this does anything to our numbers, I apologize. But it is what it is, and I said what I said. And if I have to be fired, I'm fired. But it's stupid because you don't how dare you? Not to mention the people that contracted HIV and AIDS because of rape, like something that was not to their own fruition. Like it is. And it's ridiculous that you have then now put them in the category, and these are your fans. And I had this conversation earlier with somebody because here's the thing. He was like, well, I mean, your expectation of a celebrity is too broad. You had the expectation that they would, be smart about what they believe and what they think. And I said, no, I have the expectation of the people that invest in him, that they're supposed to be teaching him how to have an understanding about his responsibility as a public figure, to have that responsibility to be able to think, you know what, maybe I shouldn't say that because maybe I do have gay fans. Maybe I do have HIV.
I don't think he realized he had gay fans until after the backlash.
Oh no. He had them and he addressed them.
I don't think that he knew that he had them until it was addressed. I do want to point out this. When I did my live earlier, the person I don't know how to pronounce the name. I want to mess it up. It's Camelo Joe. It's Kamaloj. Said, go to the CDC website to get current data on HIV. Gay men are not the largest infected group. It's another group. I won't say what it is, but just go to the website. So people are doing their research on this, but it was just really irresponsible. It was extremely irresponsible.
Yeah, I mean, it was stupid. I'm sorry. I apologize.
I feel like he was more upset that people was getting dick sucked in the parking lot than anything.
And maybe it wasn't his. I mean, we don't know. We don't know.
Or maybe his boyfriend was getting his dick sucked in the parking lot and he's mad about it.
Well, Thomas said, wasn't there a video going around about DaBaby and some guy having some "I miss you" conversation, which you sent to us earlier?
I sent it to you earlier.
Yes.
I sent it to you earlier. His hands was all in his pants. I heard him say something about getting his balls licked.
At this point in time, I mean, I feel like if anything, this is the loudest that this conversation has been right now when it comes down to straight rappers. DaBaby, first of all, DaBaby's not the
allegedly straight rappers.
Allegedly straight rappers, but he's not the first, and he won't be the last. I mean, Waka Flocka has been one of them who has voiced his ignorance out there. Lil Boosie has been one of them who has voiced his ignorance out there. T.I., he's seasonal with his ignorance. It just comes around seasonal for him. Like, DaBaby's not the first one. I just feel like it's gotten so much attention because he did it in a way that no one else has ever done it before. The platform that he was on stage at this concert, and it just blew up.
But I said something to you guys before we got into the live, and y'all can go back, the people who are watching, go back and look at this. Every time something gay comes up, there's 3 people who always show up. T.I., Lil Boosie, and DaBaby. They
And
always
you
show
can
up.
add Walker to that too.
And Walker. Wait, what I say?
No, I mean you didn't add Walker. You said the three. It was T.I., the Lil Bootsy, and
Four.
yeah.
So it's four. Yeah,
it's four.
They always show up. Little Boosie is obsessed with trans and gay stuff. He's so obsessed with it.
He goes to jail for fun.
For fun. But he's also a person who admitted to causing the R word.
Yeah.
And letting his underage nephews to get their dick sucked by a grown woman.
It was their birthday present. So it's like you
Aaron,
get so literal and so conscious and grow this whole holier than thou personality when it is black gay men out here on the forefront doing things. But then it's just like, can we talk about some of the stuff that you do? How you degrade black women, how you engage with your families, how you are procreating with random women across the board. Like, it's so many things that you yourself are not taking care of, but yet you're willing to jump on. No.
How many women has DaBaby punched?
Ooh.
Where's my fan? Where's my fan? I can't deal.
What he ain't punching white women. He ain't punching the gays.
Doesn't he have a baby out of wedlock? Isn't Danny Lee the baby mom? His newest baby mama?
What I will say, the formula for these type of men, they all have the same thing. I don't know if Waka Flocka does. They have a bunch of babies by women. I'm gonna add Future into this. They have a bunch of babies by women. They are abusive to women, and they hate gay people, gay men and transgender women. It's the same formula.
But they fucked them.
But they have sex with these gay and transgender people behind the scenes.
I'm sorry.
It's a formula to this. My homegirl this morning said, it sounds like he's gay. My homegirl said that to me this morning. This is the formula of these DL men because they can't come out. We know that the industry is full of gay men. We know this. It's been talked about for years.
I know.
If y'all just shut up,
if
y'all just shut up and leave us alone, because my question was this: what gay people randomly just attack heterosexual people for no reason? Can we get a video of this?
I'll wait.
Can we see the messages that are publicly not? Can we get something? What gay people have randomly attacked straight people for any reason?
And for any, like, yeah, if I'm gonna go on a platform like this and say, ooh, them straight dudes, yeah,
it's the notion that they believe that having someone gay on the forefront is going to, as they say, change their children. It's not a learned behavior. It's not something you can catch. It's not something that can be influenced by anyone else. No, like if that was the case, we'd all be straight because
we all would be straight.
We had no gay characters or.
You want to pull up that picture, Dwayne?
Or stuff that we didn't grow up with gay on the forefront. Like now you have TV shows like Pose, you have cartoons, you have documentaries, and you have so much on just at the hands of your remote where you can watch something about our lives. We didn't have that growing up. We weren't able to witness something like that. We had to figure this shit out on our own. So if that was the case, we'd all be straight. This is not something that you can just watch on TV. Oh, now I'm gay. No, it's not.
Go back to that comment, Dwayne.
Luche says the bigger problem is a lot of black women, not all, subscribe to all this toxic ass behavior.
Yes, because they're the baby mamas.
Hear what I'm saying, but let me tell you this, and a lot of women that are here, I've already talked about this, so they understand where we're coming from. Go read T.I.'s comment section.
Oh, you need me to pull that up? Oh
no. That I didn't even send that to you.
Oh, okay.
Go read T.I.'s comment section, because that's who's in that comment section. And I it's so sad. It's so sad to watch that, because these are probably baby mamas. It's so sad to watch that, because they are in the comment section defending this man. Even underneath Waka Flocka's comment, they're defending him on agreeing with T.I.
But these are the same.
There was someone in the chat that said in the comment section that said, "We are the same ones when they do you dirty that bring you in. We support y'all. We love y'all. We do our best." And y'all, and then we read T.I.'s comments and we see this. It wasn't a lot of men. It wasn't a lot of white people. It wasn't even a lot of black. I think it was a lot of black guys. It was kind of that were defending. I don't know if they were all gay people, but what you see, there's a lot of black women that do that. They're so uneducated. Some of them are, not all of y'all, but some of them are so uneducated, and they don't like us because maybe you've experienced a gay man who you had a baby, but I don't know what it is, but I know what I wanted to say, and I say this on my channel all the time. Black women and gay black men, I'm not discrediting the rest of the LGBTQIA plus community, but we have a fight that we have to fight together, because we are the ones that get attacked the most. Matter of fact, I'm gonna add the transgender women and men in this too. They get attacked the most, and bisexual, probably the whole other thing. I don't know. We get attacked the most because the heterosexual men who do what DaBaby is doing feel like they sit higher on the totem. I said this before in the podcast. They sit higher on the totem pole than us.
One of the things that Hope Giselle said in her commentary to what happened is the reason that we have heterosexual men that feel so strongly against black gay men, and I say black gay men specifically, is because there has to be a level of envy somewhere, because we decided to take our opportunity to explore our sexuality and give into what we were feeling and who we actually and truly are, and they envy us for being able to do so. So envy breeds hate. So you're hating on us because we explored, and just because you were stifled in whatever community or atmosphere that you were in, you were stifled to be able to say, I'm having these feelings about this other young man. How do I need to explore that? Well, because it was cut shortly and it was met with hatred and spewed with disdain, and you've adapted that. That's where that comes from. That's where that comes from. So you think that they sit higher on the totem pole, but in actuality, they're only, not disagreeing with you by no means. So I'm just saying they're the reason why they respond the way that they do is because they were stifled when they were trying to be sexually, I don't want to say fluid or promiscuous. Those are not the words I'm looking for, but they were stifled in the exploration of who they actually are. So now when you have people like DaBaby or whomever, I don't know because I don't know them personally, but you have them that are then, doing the shit on the side, because they still, how many women can I bag? How many people can I get pregnant? But they still got the dudes that they fucking on the side. And I think somebody in the comments just said that, let me get to it. Hang on. Jeff Starr just did an interview saying his close sexual relationships with a lot of rappers and ball players. Yeah. So it's the same. That's the issue. That's the issue. So you're mad at me. You want to spew rhetoric and hate towards me because I live in my truth. Because I chose to really be who I am in all my glory as a black gay male, and accepting that regardless of what society has deemed for me to say, to think that is wrong. So now you hate me because of that, and you want to get as many people like T.I. and everybody else who I'm sure all had experiences when they were younger in college that might have felt some kind of way. Because everybody in entertainment, you can't be in entertainment in some form or fashion. There are very few straight actual people in entertainment, period. I'm not saying that they're not, but I'm saying that there are very straight few people in entertainment. The fact that you get off, Go ahead.
He
I was gonna say the fact that you get
pull
off
a Robert
on,
Gatson, please, for me.
Oh, I didn't hear you. I'm sorry.
I know you didn't.
Hey, Barbara.
Thank you for becoming a member of the channel.
Sorry. I'm sorry, guys. Okay, let me just backtrack a little bit. Normally, we want to throw in your comments. This is a mutual conversation. We apologize. I apologize because usually we do this together. But we're all three of us are so passionate about this conversation because we are Black gay men and it affects us directly. You know, and it you know, the HIV and AIDS conversations direct us effectively. Those things that direct us effectively, and we're just really passionate about it. So I apologize, Barbara. We love you. We appreciate you. But that's the thing. It's the hate from the community. I do want to point out now that I have stopped my rants. I apologize. My aunt is here in the conversation, and our family members pop in from time to time. But I just wanted to highlight her because she is one that really fights for equality for the LGBTQIA plus community. You know, and we've grown together in that. We've taught each other. We've shown each other in that. But anyway, let's kind of go to some more comments really quick. Easy's gonna step away for just a minute. He'll be right back. But it's the truth. It's the truth.
Yeah.
It's the truth. We are so thank you for our little donation. We appreciate it.
Thank you for the super chat.
Yes, thank you, child. Thank you. You got to pull me in so because it's.
I'm trying.
It's
listen,
so hard
I told them earlier today. Y'all are very passionate people, so it is hard. I understand today's why it's hard. Again, I want to talk about this for days, and I couldn't because I was like, I want to make sure that we're able to do this together on the podcast because. Don't get just my perspective. We all have different perspectives on things. Maybe y'all felt it was okay. I didn't know. I didn't think y'all felt like it was okay. But I was like, I think we should do this together. Just so much. It's a lot.
I want to bring in a question. I want to bring in a question that Damien's in here. Okay. And he asked a very poignant question. So do we call out the gays that are smashing behind closed doors with these DL bullies? Do we not call them to be more responsible to the community? This goes back to the direct conversation that we were talking about, the I Am Zoe conversation with I Am Zoe and T.I.'s live, and then his googly-eyed stupidness. I'm sorry. But there is a sect of the community that still has that falsified, hopeful, I'm gonna turn them, I'm gonna pull me a DL man, I'm gonna, you know, they have that I don't even know what to call it. But they just have this falsified understanding about this falsified fantasy. Thank you. Fantasy of, you know, a DL man, a man that's not out, a man that is, you know, and that's the problem. Now, how do we address them is the question. Not necessarily do we address them, but how do we address them? I think calling them out to a degree is the way to address them. Just like people have been calling out Zoe.
You said is or is not?
What's that?
To call them out.
I think we should. I think we should. But here now, here's the thing. I'm borderline on that comment that I just made. I think that we should call them out. The only reason I said that we should, but I'm borderline because that's a mentality. Yeah. That's not going to change overnight. That's not going to, you know, that comes with growth. That comes with maturity. That comes with realizing that DL men are a dead end to a degree for some people. You see what I'm saying? So
what does calling them out look like?
That's a great question. I would assume that it would be saying, Zoe, you stupid. But, you know, I mean, but
because
but
I think the problem, one, I feel like they should be called out. I'm gonna just agree to that. But I think that the problem is also outing someone. And that's where it becomes sketchy. Because we don't know what the people who are hiding behind while they haven't come out. Because you know the scrutiny that comes behind coming out for some people.
True, and
it's a tricky situation because in real life, yes, call them out, but then in our heads we're thinking, yeah, call them out, but in real life, it also costs people lives. It caused people to lose everything. We made decisions. We made decisions to come out for ourselves.
You're right.
So it's hard, which is why I felt like the conversation about, Black women and gay men coming together, because a lot of it is that they feel like they're going to lose everything. And I'll just give my own personal story. I lost a lot when I came out. All of my friends, my well, not all my child friends, like my guy friends, I lost them. And I know people going to say they weren't your real friends, but they were a big part of my life. Most of my female friends, I kept them, but I lost a lot of my guy friends when I came out. So it was hard because I probably hung out with them more than anything.
If you want to join in the conversation.
So that conversation is just so hard to have. And I don't think that people understand that if we're like, oh, he's gay, girl, girl, don't date him, he gay. It also changes people's life.
Yeah.
So even with that, we have to be responsible when it comes to that. Like, this is how much that we protect these men. We don't get credit for that. We don't get credit for that.
Yeah, you're right, and I'm going to recant my statement because I don't think that calling them out. I think that was an emotional response. However,
it's an emotional topic.
Yeah,
it was an emotional response. However, I will identify some of the comments because the comments are coming in. Lucia makes a great comment. We have to embrace bisexuality for real. However, I agree with you, Lucia, but these people have to identify. They have to understand that that's what they are, and they have to accept that. I don't think
we also have to realize this, and I'm gonna give this out here. Y'all can agree. Remember, let's have this conversation. To me, I feel like a lot of people use bisexuality to teeter-totter whether or not they can actually come out. Because a lot of guys, especially back in our day, before, now it's different, but before they were like, well, let me test the waters out to say that I'm bisexual. How are the people around me going to respond to this? I'm not really all for guys, but I'm attracted to them. And I feel like it was like a gateway to be like, okay, well, y'all are cool with this. I'm gay. It was a gateway for a very long time. So now that it's a thing, like, not as a thing, I don't like saying that. Realizing that this is a real thing, I think that it does. This is a very true statement, but you have to realize why people feel what they feel about bisexuality, because it was a gateway to becoming saying I'm gay. That's my personal opinion.
I think for many it has been, but I also think it's easier for girls than it is for guys.
Oh, it absolutely is.
Much
easier. Absolutely
much easier.
I mean, it's easy for the girl, a female, to have an encounter, in college, and be like, oh, okay, that was something that I did in college,
and continue to have encounters.
And yes, and continue to have encounters. But for a guy to do that, I promise you're not going to get the same response.
You're gay.
Period. Whether it was one, matter of fact, I think didn't Tank say that recently? It was like a year or two ago when he was on the radio and said, if you suck dick once, does that make you gay? Like if you suck dick and you realize, you know what, I don't like this.
And they read him for a very long. They read him for a very long time about him saying that.
Yes.
I find it very interesting that the rules are not the same for everybody. And I think it is, but society, the Black society, because I don't even want to put this on any other community. It's not the same for everybody, and I don't think that that's fair. Obviously, that's unfair. However, I also don't think that you don't give Black men the opportunity to explore their sexuality like you do anyone else
at all.
And that's the crux of the problem. That's just not, you don't give us the opportunity to explore who we are sexually without judgment, without pretense, without the ability to, learn and grow and know what we like and what we don't like. I think that's the biggest issue. That's the biggest issue. I do want to kind of backtrack because there are some great comments in the comment section. You guys are really, really.
I just texted you about that.
Yes, I'm going back. I felt my watch buzz, but I was like, let me just go back to some of these comments because there's a lot in here.
And y'all give me 1 second real quick.
Okay. Let's go here. Calling out DL men is a waste of time and energy. That is where they are in life. And the only thing that we can do is create an environment to which they, at some point, will feel free to be emancipated. If they even get to that point. Even if they get to that point, and Damien wants to clarify his question. I don't mean to call them out of the closet. I mean call apron on them to, or call upon them. Maybe he was saying
call upon them
to be more responsible than this. They need to realize that their connection to DL men is delusional, meaning the gay community. Of Black gay men specifically, your connection to DL men is delusional, and that's what I think we're trying to get out to a degree. I want to go back because I did see somebody, Robert in the comments, who I think is a new follower. He said thank you to one of our comments when we were discussing HIV and AIDS. I understand I'm HIV positive, and I was molested by a drunk man because he was horny. I just walked to the store to get some snacks, and this call reaction that DaBaby did really hurt me. This is the point. If nobody else's comments, if nobody else was this resonated with somebody, this is the point. This is the responsibility that any public figure has, to understand that the world is vast. The world is made up of so many different people, gay, straight, HIV positive, negative, whatever. So you have to be very cautious about how you respond to certain things. It's just, this is a perfect example of somebody that was, that was hurt by it. Jeez. Okay. So,
thank you, Robert, for your comment.
Yes, thank you.
You did not have to be that vulnerable, that honest with us, and you're a new member here, so we welcome you, and I definitely
appreciate you for being transparent when you didn't have to be.
I also wanted to clear up something that I said, because I think that, and I know there's a lot of women who don't like Dineva or Claudia Jordan. This is not a call to all come against heterosexual Black men. It's not. But there are certain Black men that we need you to come get aboard on the mission, because as Black people, we cannot come together if we keep doing this kind of stuff. It won't work. We're so divided as Black people, and I think we've talked about this multiple times on this channel. We're so divided, from sexuality to sex. We're good, light skin, dark. Like there's so much division that we're fighting within each other. When if we let that stuff go, and let's, as a Black community, come together, we can shut some shit down. Honestly, we can't always come to the defense of you guys every single time, and we can't even say you guys because we are Black men. But we can't always come together for the heterosexual Black men who are in trouble if y'all don't do that for us. And that was the point that Claudia Jordan and Dineva said today that made sense to me. We're the first people that show up when it's a Black man, a heterosexual Black man. Because I don't know, I've never seen the gay Black man who went to jail, who got killed by the cops. I don't know. And if there was one, quote me. Tell me if I'm wrong. But I haven't seen one.
There have been, but the attention that it gets is little to none.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm not saying that they haven't. I'm saying what we all do for the heterosexual Black men, and we did it for the Black women too. But they don't ride this hard.
Basically, it's not reciprocated.
Yeah,
I understand what you're saying, because at the end of the day, when we out here and we're saying everyone's names,
and I will always refer back to Orlando. I'm not gonna stop doing that.
I mean, it's I would say it's
They
one
forgot.
of the
They forgot about
examples.
that after it was over. They forgot about it. They don't. We don't have a memorial for that like we have for 9/11. We don't have a memorial for these people who died. They all died because they were gay people in the club. We
They
don't
all
do
weren't
that.
gay. They all weren't gay. Just to be clear,
Well, they was at the gay club. They was at the gay
They were
club.
at the gay club, but they were There were women in there. There were mothers in there.
Mothers,
Everybody.
fathers, best friends.
Yeah.
I remember that story to the T because it definitely hit me. And being a promoter at that time too, like that could have been anyone's event. And the last thing I would want for anyone to do is feel unsafe in something that I'm providing for the community. So
it's just not the same.
I just think it's interesting as someone who personally marched for George Floyd and personally marched for everything that happened prior to the pandemic and even after. And I think we talked about this on the show before, where it was a fine line for me because there were spaces that I didn't feel like I wasn't warranted in because I was a Black gay male.
Yep.
Not because I was a Black gay male marching for inequality. I was a Black, and I heard rhetoric from people that had the podium that that had negative things to say about the Black LGBTQ community or the LGBTQ community period. But that was my point. It was like, you don't want me fighting for you because I'm gay, but I'm still a Black man. And Black men being incarcerated or dying at the hands of police still affects me as a Black man because the police officer's not going to ask me if I'm gay. Oh, well, because you're gay, well, then we're going to give you a pass. We're not going to shoot you. No, I'm still a Black man. So it still affects me in a manner of, still needing to be here and protest against inequality.
Can I ask y'all a question?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Do you think that if the Black Lives Matter movement wasn't made by it was made by lesbians.
It was made by Black men first. Black gay men first, I'm sorry.
Oh, I only heard about the lesbians.
Yeah,
is that known? Is that known?
A Black gay man. It was a Black gay man, and I believe the lesbians were a part of the community, but then they ended up taking it from him once they found out he was gay.
Is that a known thing?
Not unless you research it.
Yeah. Google.
Because only thing I've ever heard was it was made by lesbians. That's what I've heard. I didn't even know that. Do you think if it was known that it was from a gay Black man, do you think that movement would have went as far as it went?
Yes, only because we have a habit of creating moments that are taken away from us.
Okay.
And I think this is one of those things. This is one of those things that clearly was another thing that was taken from us.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't just magically appear.
That's true.
We've been here since the beginning, just like everyone else has. But a lot of things that we create are taken from us and used.
It's taken from us, yeah.
Yeah. So I do think
all movements, the civil rights movement, all of those things, Bayonne Rustin, all of those, those are the reasons that movements happen. It's because we know how to organize, we know how to get together, and that part of history is lost on the fact that someone else is taking.
It's not put in the books. It's not taught in schools. That stuff is taken away from us, and those are like literally. If you just Google this stuff, you can easily find it. But they don't want to teach it. They don't want to educate it. They don't want to spread it because for some reason now all of a sudden it's less than because a Black gay man or a Black gay woman has brought it to the forefront, as if we cannot lead. Like it's.
I just wanted to know what y'all thought about it.
It's tough. It's really tough, and I think that
absolutely.
While our community has its own issues, our community has its own issues and our own internal issues. What family doesn't, right?
Yeah.
What family does not have their own internal issues? But at the end of the day, one of the things that I think that needs to happen within the Black LGBTQ community is that we need to band together as oppressed people. We need to come together at the table and say, you know what? Okay, yes, I may not understand, but it does not mean that I don't support and I don't love.
Right. because there are things that we don't know that women go through. Even heterosexual men, we don't know. And all the letters that LGBTQIs put people, we don't know those things. But what we can do is support.
But like Dwayne said, a conversation just needs to be had. And just like any family, if you want things to be better, if you want things to be brought to the forefront so we can address them and move on, we got to have the conversation, and an open conversation. That means everyone has to be open-minded about what's going on, what's about to happen, and also want something to change for the betterment of our future.
Yeah.
You want that, but you want change for the betterment of our children. So you got to bring everyone from all walks of life,
Yeah,
and be like, these are our issues.
Yep.
This is why I can't. Like, honestly, I honestly did not feel. I did not march at all. I didn't attend one march. I supported in other ways. I donated here and there. I shared posts and whatnot. I tried to do my thing, but I just didn't feel like I should have been out there marching, because I honestly felt like if it was my life on the line, like if I was in that place, if I had a knee on my neck, I don't think people would have supported or publicized it as much as. It sounds kind of selfish, but at the same time, it's just like, I'm not represented out here in the community. I don't even get that type of love from my family, within my family. So I know as a community, my community will look past me, because guess what? They're going to, oh, he's gay? Well,
I actually went down and with some gay guys I went with, and they're all not visually masculine like me. But there were people who just turned down stuff from us because they didn't.
I'm sorry.
No, y'all know me as me. But I'm saying, as I present outside of the gay community, the people will tell you that they never would have thought I was gay. But there are people that were just, they didn't. I mean, that's who they are.
It must have seen you walk away.
They haven't, because I think that when in my workspace, like mentally, I guess I try to not. It's like a mental thing for me though, because as a young gay guy, as a young person, I was extremely feminine. So mentally, I don't present myself the way that I present in front of gay people that I do in front of everybody. I don't. It's mentally, I don't do it. So, and people, people are much, they'll tell you, like, I never thought you was gay. My one of my homegirls is in my chat. She could tell you when it transitioned. I just don't. But there were people who wouldn't even take water. Well, hold on. They wouldn't even take water from us because they thought they were gay people.
Yeah, but we all do it. It's no different from code switching, where black folks will change their voice or their appearance when they're around white folks or in the workplace, because they.
Well, they explained it because y'all started laughing when I said what I said.
No, we were laughing because you said presenting how I present. Wait a minute, because we know better. No, I'm just playing.
That's what I'm saying. What y'all I give y'all me, but I'm just saying, when I'm in public spaces, because I've always felt like people judge me before I even walk in a room. I'm always conscious about that. It's something that I hate, because I was so feminine. Like, what y'all see is like light. I was like girl feminine when I was growing up. So it's something it's like something that I hate. I'm so conscious about it when I'm outside of the gay atmosphere. So when I do that, I try to, I don't even know why I try to, but I do it though. It's weird. I don't know. I hate that I even said that.
It's just a matter of code switching. We all do it, and I applaud the younger community that are coming up, because they are just living out loud and proud, and I'm just like, I'm here for it. I'm a little bit envious of it that I can't be. Well, I can, but it was just like when we grew up, it just wasn't.
We couldn't.
Acceptable. It just wasn't like,
it wasn't acceptable.
You couldn't do it, and if you did do it, I promise you, was gonna catch a fist in the back of the head.
I gotta beat up a lot.
There's another conversation that's happening in the chat, guys, that I think that we want to touch on a little bit. And I know that there are a lot of you commenting, and like I said, if you just joining us, You know, we usually try to integrate your comments into the conversation. It is a conversation with you guys and us. But there's so much going on in the chat. So please forgive us if we don't get to your comment. I want to bring up this evangelist and writer, Miss Valerie, who is in the
she
chat.
said it to me earlier today.
And she made something very mentionable. She says she's a preacher. She has 7 sons, 2 are gay, but her message is based on relationships with God and not religion. I've seen what religion can do. I choose what
spoke to my spirit.
Thank you. What I choose what spoke. Yeah, you. Yeah.
We got your back. We got your back.
You know what you say. I want to bring this conversation because there was someone that I did see, and I think it was really far back, and they were just talking about, and I think it was Lex. Lex, forgive me. But I know he mentioned that one of the issues really was the church, or Christianity specifically, in regards to how the Black community treats Black gay men. And so I really wanted to kind of bring up that portion of the conversation.
I just want to say thank you to her for that.
Yeah, Valerie, thank you.
Yeah, because there's a lot of people in your position who will not do that.
And has not done it.
And she's not lying, y'all. I'm telling y'all, she's not lying.
So I believe her 100%. I'm just saying, like, there's a lot of people out here. It's one of the reasons why I personally haven't found a church to go to that I felt comfortable in.
Yeah, she's a big supporter of my channel. She's not lying. I'm telling you.
And I think for all of us, and I think Rick just said what I was going to say, but religion has left a huge scar on a lot of our lives as Black gay men for the way that we were mistreated, the way we were handled, the way that we, have experienced our getting to know who we are as ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, not to. I almost got a tear just that quick. The last time I was in I know I'm so serious because it really did mess me up when it happened, and I did not know how to act. I didn't know how to react to it. But the last time I was in church was at my great grandmother's funeral, and she was one who supported me wholeheartedly. She knew, she accepted me, she loved me. I never felt ashamed to be myself in front of her. And when she passed, and she told me, she was like, I want you to share a story. And I shared that story. And literally right after I got from the podium, the pastor got up there and literally damned me to hell.
Wow.
He told me I was going to be going to hell for my sinful ways and how I was living this life of mine. But yes, at my great grandmother's funeral, it just
wow.
Like it wasn't necessary. It wasn't called for. It was just like, wow. And she was such a fun-loving spirit, such a jokester, such a lively individual. So her funeral was that. And literally when it happened, and I felt even worse because no one checked it.
Of course not.
Like no one checked it. And I wish I could go back to it because I addressed it on Facebook. I want to say a couple days afterwards, and that's when it blew up. A shitstorm fell because there was family members who do follow me, and they left their remarks, and it seemed like a lot of them were for what he had to say. And yeah, I haven't been in church since.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's really, there are so many micro isms. I'm going to make that up, but there's so many micro stories of your situation for us in the community that it's hard to address it as a whole. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
There's
because everyone has a story like that.
Everyone has a story.
It's a scar. Like just like any scar you get, everyone has them from growing up. Whether you fallen off a bike, slid down, bust your knee, like everyone has those type of scars. The church has, especially for the LGBT community, the church has left those type of scars that will always be there. Always be there. No matter how old you get, that scar will be there.
Yeah. And it's triggering experiences for a lot of us. Yeah. That anything remotely close to what that feels like or what that experience is a trigger for us. For a lot of us.
Like I said, I had to catch the tear because as soon as you started mentioning it, I had a flashback to that moment.
That's why I take my camera off.
Yeah, no,
I
I
hate
get
that.
it.
I hate
I
that.
get it. Debbie made a very good comment. She said, "This is why a lot of heterosexual men feel
Look at my friends
justified."
up in the comment section. I'm sorry.
They feel
This is my childhood friend, y'all. I'm just telling y'all.
they feel justified in some of the things that they say. That they use religion to support their hatred and their ignorance. Absolutely.
And
So
let me
can
just
we
say
have
that homosexuality is
can
written
we
into the
have an
Bible.
important conversation?
It was written in. I just want to put that out there. Like, if you check your facts, homosexuality was written into the Bible. In our day and age, in recent years, it was written in.
Facts.
But
It was
if you
written
actually go back and
in.
look at if you actually go back and research the words that were used, it really wasn't. People did that for their own beneficial things. I want to have a conversation with you guys, though.
Yeah, thank you, Rainier. I'm sorry, I didn't
Yeah.
mean to shout her out like that, but
And do we need to send her a link?
because she put the date in there.
Yes.
1946, y'all. It was written in 1946. That is our. There are people still living from 1946. Like, come on. Like, it was written in. It wasn't something that no. Okay.
Can we have a conversation?
Okay.
I thought we were.
No, I mean, I want to talk about something that has been bothering me.
Really? Okay. Can I just really get to the comments really
Go
quick?
ahead.
I'm gonna go really quick because I don't want people to miss because there's a couple of things coming in. Debbie asked, "How do we change the narrative within the Christian community? Because it honestly starts there. We can't, Debbie. Just as I said a few minutes ago, there's so many micro.
I'm not going to answer it.
There's so many micro issues. Meaning, what I mean by that is, I might have had an experience. SoDebNair has had an experience. And Easy has had an experience. We all go to the same church, but we all had 3 different experiences. And we're bound by fear of thinking that we're going to go to hell. So there's no way to really kind of put a cap on. And this is happening not in just one building. This is happening at multiple churches around the country. So we're all being kind of pigeonholed or held a captive because of the situation. So there's really no way to address every preacher of every Sunday morning that stands in the pulpit to say, you're wrong, you're doing the wrong thing. It's hard. It's very hard to address for the Christian community as a whole, the Black Christian community as a whole.
I can give you one.
But they don't want to touch on how John Graydon cheated on his wife publicly 4 times now.
Because that doesn't matter. That's
acceptable. That's acceptable.
Okay.
He's a man. He's a man.
It doesn't matter. But I can tell. I actually can give you a good example, which is why I left. I won't say the church that this came from. The pastor preached a message about church being a hospital. And literally, when I listened to the message, I said, I'm not sick every week. Why do I have to be at the hospital every Sunday if I'm not sick? What I do know is that I grew up in church. I know the principles of what I've learned. God is love. Learn unconditional love. Whatever else you get from the Bible, I have no idea. Because if you believe that God created the first part and then Jesus came to fix the next part, Jesus came back and gave one message: love thy neighbor as you love thyself, period. So if you got the message, to me, this is my own personal opinion. This is not for Busy. This is not for, Busy. Easy. I just said I was not going to do it. It's not for Easy. This is not for Dwayne. The message is to spread love to everybody. Whatever that means to you from your heart. Because God is love. He lives in your heart. Give God to everybody else. To me, that's what it was. This is like going to elementary school, going to grade school, and going to college. If I'm getting the message from God, all the stories that we read, we heard, it was teaching you how to get the love from God, period. After you get that, if you got the message, why do you have to still be in school? If you're sick, why do you have to still be at the hospital? If you're not sick, why do you have to still be at the hospital? There's no reason. Take the message and then spread what God gave you. Now, what he gave me might not be what he gave you. Whatever message you got from God, from being sick all the time every Sunday, take it and give it. If you are healed from the sickness, just give the love that God gave you. That's it. Because the message is love, period. I honestly feel like the rapture that's in the Bible, if we all understood the concept of unconditional love, he would probably just come back and we would all be done.
The rapper gonna come back and drag. That's all I know.
Not drag.
That sounds like that sounds like some gay shit.
Here we are. Dr. Rainier is here. My sis, I'm sorry. I apologize. Wait a minute. Public service. I'm getting in there. She is a beauty queen now. She won her pageant that we congratulated her on last week.
Congratulations.
It was the red dress that took me out, Rainier.
Yeah.
And I voted.
Congratulations to our sister, Dr. Rainier, man. If you do not know who she is a wonderful, 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 wonderful woman who helps with faith-based trauma. She is a doctorate in helping with faith-based trauma. She has a business called Pink Love Wellness. She is someone to go to if you have faith-based trauma. But that's not why she's here. She would probably say that if she was on here, but I do want to put up her comment. Patients
does she need the link?
Yes, she does need the link to come on. If she's not on, sis, I would like for you to get ready because we would love to hear your thoughts on everything that we're talking about since Aaron has put it out there. If you're willing to come on, let us know. We'll send you the link. Patients get discharged, she says, but in long-term care or hospice or they die. Mm-hmm. I loathe the church analogy as a hospital. The analogy of the church is a hospital, she says.
And where we met at, that's the church who gave that analogy.
Actually, yeah, me, Aaron, Renee, all of us met in church. Surprisingly, I want to go back to Damien's comment. Second, I think he made a first point that we'll get to, but he said, "I hate that what happened to us happens in that particular churches, but there are literally hundreds of thousands of affirming, welcoming churches that are combating that concept."
And Damien is in St. Louis. They have a church who does that. So if y'all want to find a affirming ministry, that's where they're at. Damien, put in the comment section the name of the church because I know what it is, but I can't remember what it is.
Yeah. Hump to dance. What's going? It's your chance to dance to do the hump. Sorry. Some of these pastors are LGBTQ themselves, DL like a mofo. Indeed.
We know that.
That doesn't make it right at the
end. It doesn't make it right.
And it all goes back to the beginning of the conversation where we were not allowed to explore our sexuality as Black gay men. So then we get men that marry women in church because that's the right thing to do. It's what they feel that God is calling them to do, but they still humping boys on the side. Come on.
And there's a lot of them in my inbox, and they're not affirming ministry. Pastors.
I got a couple of mine too. Still talking about they want to lay hands on me,
and not those type of not holy hands.
No, thank you. How many times have we been on church vans and buses?
My friend over here, she cracking me up.
Hey, friend. Okay.
She's actually chiming in too. Like she's getting
Okay, she don't want to come and sit on the couch. What?
She is on the couch.
Oh,
but scoot over a little bit more towards easy.
This is a commute conversation. You can come on. It's all right.
Keep scooting.
Hello.
Here we go. Hey,
what's your name? Who are you? Sierra.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Welcome.
Nice
welcome to the couch. Welcome to the Affairs of Heart podcast.
Can you scoot over just a little bit more, though?
So just a little more. We want to get you all the way in. Do you have anything that you want to weigh in? We've been talking about a lot in particularly, but more specifically about DaBaby and his comments, T.I. and his comments, Lil Boosie and his comments. And
we haven't got to Boosie yet.
Yeah, we haven't even got to, but he ain't even worth getting to. What are some of your thoughts as a woman?
As a woman, it comes from both sides. So you guys have been talking about a lot, and conversations like these are my favorites because these are kind of some of the discussions I would have in my classes in college. These kind of discussions where, especially with Zoom, we talk in the comments and try and bring it out in the discussion. So it's definitely given me a lot to have like wheels turning in my mind. So I've got lots of stuff going on in there. But I think ultimately as a woman, Black heterosexual men hurt both of us the absolute most. Me as a Black woman, because we always show up for them the same way you guys were saying you always show up for them, and the same way, You say you went out and you supported, this summer you protested. This summer I protested. But who was out there protesting for Breonna Taylor other than Black women?
Black women.
Or gay men.
Or gay men. Absolutely.
Or transgender women or transgender men. So Black men, Black heterosexual men hurt not only Black women, but Black, gay, trans.
So glad you're here.
Women, men, and gay, bisexual women and men the absolute most. Because at the end of the day, all of us rally so hard and stand behind them so hard that they will never do the exact same for us. And that hurts. And that's so hard because we love our Black men. We love a good Black man. But it's so hard to love someone that constantly hurts and hurts and hurts and hurts you. Yeah. And you can't pull away from that. Because at the end of the day, we love them, they hurt us, they go and marry a white woman. And we still fighting, saying rest in peace and get justice for XYZ. But at the end of the day, that's only,
let me log off.
That's only that on that.
But she's right. She's right though.
When you're right, you're right.
She's right. She's right though.
There was that bombshell. We also, my boyfriend and I have a lot of conversations, and lately, because I do plan on hopefully one day marrying my current boyfriend, and we have a lot of conversations about getting married, and our conversations have gone from being worried about having children together, but being worried more about having children that are Black. He's darker, but due to these reasons. Darker skinned kids, yes, I'm a lighter woman, but my mom had the same stigma because of colorism. Worried about what I would look like when I came out because she knows that little Black girls that are darker than little light girls are treated completely different in all aspects. We talk a lot about...
Can you pull up Debbie's comment to what she said this? The last one?
I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I didn't.
Oh,
thank you.
Came in and dropped the ball.
I tried to find only gems out of this mouth. We also talk about children with disabilities because you know how horrible people are to children, special needs children out there. But our biggest thing has been, we both are Christians, we both are Baptist Christians, but talking about raising if we are faced with having a child that decides to come out later on as being transgender, gay, or bi. And in the sense that where you guys were talking about, growing up in the church, we both grew up in the church. I attended all Christian schools and Catholic schools growing up. He went to public school in Baltimore, but church was every Sunday, so we both grew up. And I think now with the times changing, it's so hard as someone that grew up in the church to try and change your mind to an open mindset. Mm-hmm. And it's not instilled in my heart, but it's what you are taught. The same thing we say about racism with little kids. Kids don't know color. Kids also don't know gender and sexuality. Until it is taught for them to hate that, until it is taught God is all love unless they love the same sex. And growing up, you were not, you're taught, I'm sure you've heard the jokes, God made Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. And you were taught that, with this Rebecca curriculum in Christian schools or going to Sunday school every single year, every single week, that yes, God is love. But those who love the same sex or those who have these sinful encounters or stray from God's light will be damned in hell. And that's so hard because it's like, that's not what I believe. I'm sitting right here. I clearly don't, I love the LGBTQ plus. Right, I love the LGBTQ plus community.
But can we use the correct word for God? It's not love. He's unconditional love.
Yeah, exactly. And
there's no condition on his love.
That's what I'm saying. And that's what makes it so much harder to, when I finally got out of those institutions and got to, college, because it is public. I didn't go to a Christian college. I was able to see, this was all taught. I'm so disciplined and so kind of like brainwashed into believing this isn't the message. And we also talk a lot about, I grew up in Israel. I lived in Israel for 2 years. Wow. Yiddish is what they would have written that Bible in. Who was going to go back to that translation and read that Bible in Yiddish to Because at the end of the day,
I'm logging off. I'm logging off. I'm logging off. I'm logging off.
It's open interpretation, and we choose to see and read and write what we choose to believe. Because at the end of the day, that Bible is not filled with what it was filled with years ago. It has been translated into King James Version, NIV, from English to Spanish to Yiddish to Hebrew to Italian. It's got so
And
many
King
words.
James was a gay man.
All of the words are not the same. So
King James was gay.
Who knows what the original translation says besides those who originally wrote it? Who's going to go back and try and translate that into, and even when it is translated, the interpretation is whatever you take it and you
I got a
put it
question
out
for
to
you.
the world to be.
I got a question for you.
That misinterpretation comes before Eve came out the wood. Yes.
I got a question for you. Do you need a square on this podcast? Don't break it down like this. And do you need a square on this podcast?
Ma'am.
Let the people know how old you are.
I'm 23.
I'm logging off.
Let me explain something to you. And I'm sorry. Please remind everybody of your name.
My name is Sierra.
Sierra.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I want to make sure that everybody gets her name right.
Where can they find you at on social media?
Okay.
When they refer to you,
I'm taking Sierra out tonight. And I'm taking her out. We're gonna get a couple drinks. We'll have some fun.
I want to go out with Sierra too.
I will tag her in everything. So if you're following me, you'll be following her. You'll see her in all my stories tonight. I'm taking her out. We're gonna have a good time tonight.
So let me say this, and because Sierra dropped so many bombs,
Baby,
she dropped so many bombs. However, let me say this. The fact that you and your mate, your partner, your boyfriend, however you would choose to refer to him, the fact that you are having these kinds of conversations about your unborn children is extremely paramount in our community.
Yes.
It's extremely, these are conversations that needs to be had when you think about having children.
Yeah.
Not my son or my daughter will not be gay, or I will not accept, or I will not. The reality is that if they choose to do so, then, and not that it's a choice, but if it happens upon me that this is the child that God has blessed me with,
yeah,
how am I going to be able to handle it, and what do I need to do to make sure that I'm giving the child the best life possible?
I'll tell you something else that she could probably mind both the channels, but she said something to me that made a lot of sense to me, but then people backtrack on it. She said when most women have babies, they only ask God for two things: to have a healthy baby and someone who loves them. Two things: a healthy baby and someone who loves them. Everything else that comes after that, then it's a whole problem. They ask God for two things: a healthy baby, someone who loves them.
They don't ask for anything else.
Nothing.
They are loving you in the comments.
Girl.
Sierra needs a square on the podcast.
She said that
we trick Busy and Busy, Easy on being here, Easy and Busy. We trick Easy on being on here. Can we help you? I already said before we got. So let me clarify this, because people in the comments gonna know this. I already said it's gonna be so hard for me to not say Busy and Easy because it sounds so familiar to me. But we tricked Easy on being on here.
They did trick me. Well, no, I don't want to say Dwayne tricked me. Aaron tricked me.
I did. Yes, I did. And he was like, "Am I a part of the show?" I said, "You're on the flyers. You're a part of the show."
I was like, I was on one flyer. And I was like, oh, the next week I was on another one. I'm like, I didn't know I was doing it again. Okay, well, I ain't doing nothing Thursday. I'll do it. Shit.
But
Sierra, if you need a space on it, I'm just throwing this out here.
I would definitely bring Sierra back.
Have a conversation.
Yes. You're the way you broke down the Bible.
Can we get next week?
We gotta check my work schedule.
She's gonna check her schedule. But the way that thank you for explaining as a biblical minor. in college. Thank you for explaining the way that the Bible was written for people to understand and for them to know that what they're reading is not what God said and or wrote.
And I have conversations with friends about it all the time because their biggest fear, and I think it's so sad to have a fear like that, is to be like, will I be able to love my child if they come out and they're not heterosexual? And it's like, I don't understand why you have to question if you will love a child that you grew inside of yourself for 9 months, a child that you have a bond from the beginning from, a child that God gave you out of, a love for you. He said, be fruitful and prosper. He didn't say with who, he didn't say with what, where, when, he just said, be fruitful and prosper. And I feel like for you to be like, well, being gay is XYZ. Okay, well, you find in the Bible where it tells me that. And don't say it tells me in King James or New English Version. You go and you get
or Leviticus,
and you translate it for me.
Can I ask you a question?
Translation, but you translate it.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
And maybe I don't know if you have or you haven't. Have you explored the word abomination?
The word abomination?
Yeah.
Not in depth.
Okay.
No, I have not.
So what I learned, and because people are here, I definitely want to say this, and I actually learned two different things. The word abomination in the Hebrew translation was something that they don't know in a certain culture. It was actually, you can go to the Blue Letter Bible because it translates the actual Bible. The word abomination was for that culture because they were trying to do certain things for their culture. So when they talked about Sodom and Gomorrah, they were trying to build an army. So you couldn't sleep with a man and a man, or a woman and a woman, because it doesn't create the army. I seen something else the other day, and I don't remember what it was, but I will go back and look it up because I don't want to give misinformation. But the original thing that I heard was the word abomination was something for a certain culture. They both meant the same thing, but it was something that wasn't for a certain culture. It wasn't to damn to hell. And there's been a lot of people on the internet who said this. People look at the word abomination bad because the word bomb is in it. It means destruction. So we can't get past it, and the people in the church can't get past it because the word bomb is in it. But that's literally not what that meant. Because if that meant that when people are eating shellfish, it would be damn to hell. When DaBaby, who has babies out of wedlock, made his videos, he would be an abomination because he has babies out of wedlock. Let's stop this narrative of us being the worst people on the earth because we're same-sex people. There's so much stuff on here, and I understand why y'all said let's make a two-part thing because it's so much. But I feel like one, I'm glad that you're here today because it helps the conversation. Two,
it was in God's plan.
Yes, God was like, "Girl, you coming over here today at this time, at this point, because we need you right here at this space." And you did what you had to do. You understood the assignment. You understood the assignment. But yes, I think.
And she did the extra credit.
And actually, and I'm a challenge to people who are watching the channel. Look up the word abomination.
Yes, Dwayne.
I'm not gonna say anything. I'm gonna ask my sister. I'm gonna ask Rainier if she is free and available. I wanted to pop in just to give
want her to too.
Some clarification.
You gonna bring Rainier for closing remarks?
Yes. Closing remarks. I was just about to say that. Like Rainier, we need you right now for real.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask Rainier.
We're not even asking. We're demanding that you actually come up here.
I'm asking.
I'm demanding. I'm demanding. We need her.
She's gonna pop in. She said she would, so I'm gonna send her the invite for her to pop in and just really shed some light on everything that we've discussed. She doesn't think that she needs to, however, I think that she should just come in and share. Give us 2 seconds, and then we're gonna let you guys go have a good time for the night.
This will be our shortest show we ever had.
No, we've been here an hour and 30 minutes. So
this only says no. We normally are like 2 hours and 30 minutes, not 1 hour and 30 minutes. I don't think we ever had a short hour. We've had short shows.
It's not the shortest show we've ever had.
Let me look.
I'm about to say we're still not even done.
Right?
No, I know we're not done. We're not done.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Sierra.
I told her
you were amazing. You're amazing.
We talk at work all the time, very similar to this. But I told her, I was like, you don't have to get on. But I'm just saying, But she was sitting there off camera, just dropping gems too. And that's if you see me looking over, I'm like, okay.
I don't think y'all realize how long we be on live.
Just scoot over and come talk to us. Because clearly,
I didn't want to pressure her to,
I don't think y'all realize how long we be on lives on Thursdays. Because I'm looking at the hours. This is very short for us.
Okay.
Well, we're not ending it right now, SoDebNair.
No, I know that.
And we already talked about that. This is going to be a two-parter.
Yeah.
This is a heavy subject anyway. You don't want to get nobody all this in a.
So while we're waiting on Rainier, let's do this part.
Yes.
Do LGBT people have more rights than heterosexual people? That's what T.I. said.
Do we have more rights?
Yes, that's what he said. Do we have more rights? He actually repeated it twice.
In regards to
what?
He said we have. He asked the question. Do we have more rights? Do we have more rights than they have?
Do the women he got chained up in?
And he also said, just say that. Do we have more rights?
What?
That's not my question. It's my question.
No, I'm asking.
Easy, ask your question again because I don't think anybody.
I want to know: do the women chained up in his basement have more rights? I'm just trying to.
Rainier, you may have to come to the next live.
I just need to know what playing field we're on here. If you're gonna ask questions, I'm gonna ask questions because I'm just
okay. Dr. Rainier is here, so we're gonna bring her in.
I'm sorry, Rainier. I'm gonna behave myself.
Hey, sis.
Hey.
Beauty Queen is in the house, honey. The Beauty Queen is here. Dr. Rainier, I'm in. Thank you so much for
Rainier. This is my friend Sierra.
I heard Sierra tearing it down and teaching something here. That's why I said there was nothing for me to clarify. I was cleaning and listening, and I was like, yeah, that's it.
He was killing it.
All the way.
But your thoughts on everything that we've talked about. Anything that you want to shed light on or you want to add your commentary to.
I came in a little late because, like I said, I'm taking care of stuff from the weekend. And first of all, let me say to Easy, I am sorry that you had that experience. That was a lot. And I want to say to all my LGBTQ community, I am sorry that you all have had to have that experience based on misinformation, based on... It's always funny to me that people that don't even go to church, remotely have no connection with God whatsoever, will use the Bible as basis for their discrimination because it came from somewhere. It was taught to them. And there was a question earlier that said, how do we change the narrative? And Dwayne, you was like, you can't. The truth is you can't. Like, I was in absolute agreement. These teachings go all the way, like Sierra said, back to, they'll say antiquity, but back before Jesus, back to. So when you have something that's so heavily indoctrinated into people, and A is telling B, and B is telling C, and not all the time, like in the telephone game, things are being passed in the correct way. You don't know what you'll end up with on the other side. And in addition to that, people that are where they are about how they feel about LGBTQ people, if they are completely closed off to the conversation, there is nothing that you're going to be able to say to them. You'll have some people that will be open and you might be able to bring them a different type of awareness. But the people that want to feel how they feel, that's how they're going to feel. They don't care that a lot of the stuff that they are referencing to LGBTQ people had a totally different definition way back when. They don't care that in order to... It's always funny that they'll say, well, that's no longer applicable. Or that's no longer applicable. They'll look at societal norms and say, well, all of this has changed. But that's the one thing that they can't possibly take into consideration, that what we identify as LGBTQ, same gender loving, all of that was not what they were talking about. They were talking about relationships that were based from this power and control place, whether it was the master to the slave, whether they were talking about pederasty, which is what we would kind of identify as pedophilia. They were talking about something else. They were not talking about people that were consenting to loving relationships and building family. They were talking about these dynamics that would have, and I think you said something similar earlier about the armies, that would have cut off their lineage. Sex was just simply about procreation. If you were not having children, that's why even when you look at stories in the Bible, a brother would take the wife of the other brother because it was about carrying the name.
Yes.
And when it wasn't about this deep relationship between this man and this woman, because for all intents and purposes, women were looked at as property. They didn't have... I just think that there's a book that's called Looking at the Scripture Through Western Eyes. And it talks about how we view things from our social location where we sit. We don't take into account what was happening in that place at that time. We don't take into account who was speaking, what was their background. We don't take any of that into account. It's just simply, well, so-and-so said, and that's it.
And also add this in, women didn't have rights until they got married for a very long time. They didn't have rights until they got married to a man.
Right, because it was about, in addition to the lineage plays a big part. That where your name goes. That's why when daughters were born, the fathers of those daughters weren't treated the same way that they were treated if they had sons. It was something, there was something to that. And so we're trying to engage a conversation from a patriarchal place, a white patriarchal place, that does not apply to us in the same way. So, I mean, I didn't have to clarify anything because y'all were absolutely on point with what you're saying. So I'm just here to just add a couple, nickels to that quarter.
So Renee brought the sides. Renee brought the side dishes.
I'm glad you're here because I want to ask all y'all a question. Have y'all seen all three of Lil Nas X's last 3 videos? All 3.
Yeah.
So the first one that he released, he had the Adam and Eve thing, right?
Yeah.
The last one that he released was about the jail, right? The middle one was about what we actually go through as gay black men. No one had a problem with that video. it actually told a story about what we go through, the depression that we go through. There was no outrage from that. No one probably even watched it. They didn't care about it.
Wait, are you talking about the one where he went to hell on the stripper pole?
That was the
That was
first
the
one.
first one.
That was the first one? Okay.
The middle one was Sun Goes Down.
Oh, that okay, gotcha. Okay.
Sun
Gotcha.
Goes Down. No one ever mentioned these. They never mentioned this video. Sun Goes Down was the most instrumental video that he made, but he proved the point. If I don't do outlandish shit, they won't watch it. Because when he made the one with the Adam and the Eve situation, and he made the one about the people, he was sexualized in jail, outrage. There was one specific video that he made. No one said anything about it. It was so like when he made it, I talked about how I backtracked my childhood when I seen it because it brought back memories for me and how sad I felt and how.
But I think it goes back to what Rainier had said earlier. It's more so of a surface value. Like these people will see the video and all they saw was him swirling on the pole going straight to hell.
Well, they don't
take the time to look back and see the knowledge behind it, where it came from, what he meant by it, what interpretation was he trying to portray with it. Like they're just taking it for surface value, and that's it.
The reason I'm bringing it up because I was on a really big blog yesterday. No one ever seen that video. They were oblivious to the fact that he made this video. It was so detrimental to me. And I think a lot of gay men or people in the LGBTQIA plus community, it was a video that showed the depression that we go through. No one's seen it. It wasn't a big thing on the internet. Like, did you see all the depression that he went through? Did you see how sad this was? No one said anything. But because the Adam and Eve story was told, they were outraged. Because he's sexualizing jail, which I'm trying to figure out why this was sexualized. No, everyone's seen this, but the real video, no one's seen it.
I saw it.
Yeah, no one's seen it. As a black man being in this community and knowing what I watched, that video was more important than those other two videos. I never cared about. I knew he was making fun of the we're going to hell shit. I knew that he thought that. I know he was doing things about gay people in jail, but that middle video was so important. Everybody missed it. Have y'all seen it? Easy and Dwayne?
I've seen it once. I saw when he first dropped it.
That video was so important. Everybody missed it. No one mentioned it. They didn't say, oh, I didn't know y'all went through this. They weren't concerned for us. They didn't care.
I said they take it for surface value. Like it's just like, oh my God, he's naked in a shower with other men. We gotta speak about this. Oh my God, he's on a stripper pole going straight to hell. We gotta speak on this. Like it's like Rainier said, they don't look past what they see.
My point on being on YouTube, because my channel is so big right now, is to spread the fact that y'all miss all the important stuff.
I know you're not gonna shameless plug yourself for like.
Yeah,
no.
Like,
I'm not even because I didn't do it on my channel. It wasn't even on my channel. It was on the big blog because it wasn't for me. They know I'm gay. I did it on the big blog because I need them to understand something. Y'all are talking about, and they're really good people. Shout out to Sherelle and Perry. They have a bigger blog than this channel and my channel. I went on that channel and I did it on Zelle Live channel as well. What I want people to understand is this: the depression that we went through growing up as gay black men, and everybody who's in part of the LGBTQIA plus community, it's real.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all, they know they're gonna get that from my channel. They're gonna get it from this podcast channel. But going to other channels is very important for me because I don't want to just leave it there where I'm at because you know this is what you're gonna get. But when you go to other places, I'm gonna be representative of us. And I told that I told that story to the point where people went back and watched it and said, I missed this. I didn't even realize this video was even created. The depression of people that are coming from this community is real. And if no one understands that, I know that a lot of people are there from those channels and everything, because I did this yesterday. I want to make sure that people understand this, that the depression that comes from being a part of this community is real. So what DaBaby did was irresponsible. What T.I. did was irresponsible. Waka Flocka supporting that was irresponsible. And anybody else from the Black community who entertained this is irresponsible because we are already Black. We are Black first. Dwayne said this. We are Black first. I personally feel like I'm the same. I'm all the way around the same way Black. I mean, all these things. But Dwayne said it, so I'm going to ride with this. We are Black first. This is something we have to ride with every day of our life. But to add the gay part or the whatever letter that you are part of the LGBTQI community, to add that on there, there's so much that comes with this. And we need you to understand how important it is for you to not do what just happened on the internet. Add the HIV part on there. That's a whole other layer if you are a part of this community. Let's not talk about the heterosexual people who are experiencing this. This is so much to deal with at one time. It's irresponsible. And this is a celebrity who people love. What I need is for our Black men and for the Black women, because there was white people in T.I.'s comment section fighting. There were white men in the comment section fighting. I didn't see a lot of Black men doing that. And I'm going to just be honest. I didn't see that. What I need for our Black men to do, the heterosexual ones, is to cut your shit. Because when it's y'all, we're there. We're the first ones to show up. Because we Black men. We are Black women. I'm not where Renee says Black women. We're there. Give us the respect that we give y'all. Because at the end of the day, we're trying to build the community up and y'all are tearing us down. It's not okay.
I'm sorry.
It's not okay.
I don't want to cut you off, friend.
Okay.
Because you are speaking facts, period. And it is a sentiment from your heart that is absolutely true, 100% every word that you've said. I do want to toss it to Renee. She had her hand up. She wanted to mention something.
Oh, I didn't even see it. I'm sorry.
I wrote about this in a little poem yesterday, because one of the things I kept seeing online was that the LGBTQ community is too sensitive.
Wait, say that again.
I've heard that.
The LGBTQIA community has become too sensitive. When you read the comments underneath, like almost every second one is they're too sensitive. They're too sensitive.
Heard that.
Now, I'm really honest about how I feel about things. I do think that every now and then we galvanize around something and go way over the cliff. However, I do not feel that it is about sensitivity. It is simply about wanting the same respect and inclusion that everyone else wants. But what made me raise my hand is when you talk about Lil Nas X, right? Now, I may be a different opinion about some things as it relates to him. And I'm going to say why. Easy keeps saying it. They're missing it. They're missing it. I saw that video, and that was the one video that you're speaking of that touched me in a certain kind of way. In the videos that he does, he's brilliant in intertwining in these hidden meanings that if you don't know, you have to go and look some things up and be like, oh, wow, that's what he does. But when I look at him, I'm with you on people are missing how traumatized he is. A lot of an artist, we use our sadness and disappointment, all that to fuel our creativity. But every time I hear his songs, I have this deep prayer that he has proper spiritual and mental health professionals in his life, because I think that people are really missing how, I hate to say it this way, damaged he is and how he's still processing through.
You're right. You're right.
This is not a conversation he's having post-healing. He is laying it all out and going to the extremes of shock. Like the child in the house who has been abused and no one is listening, and then they go to the polar opposite of themselves. And now everybody's like, oh my God, why is he doing that? Why is he acting out? Because there is something happening. And the sadder thing is people are reinforcing these ideologies that are causing the same thing to happen to other individuals, because there is trauma there. There is unhealed trauma there that you may be able to resolve as an individual, but as a collective, I'm not sure, and this is me being honest, how long into the generations it will take before that depth of trauma is dealt with and addressed properly. The trauma from being gay, and I'm using that as an umbrella, and or transgender.
For all the letters.
For all the letters.
Yeah.
And being Black.
Mm-hmm.
And then being Black and gay.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a Venn diagram that should take place of how much trauma is embedded in that. And if you look up the ACEs, the Adverse Childhood Experiences, which is a scale, a test that was done on individuals about their child upbringing, mm-hmm. and the dysfunction that's in it and how it has led to bad behavior later in life. Mm-hmm. There is an 18% difference between heterosexual individuals. The largest amount of their ACEs range from 1 to 3 out of the list. Mm-hmm. For LGBT, it's the largest is 4 to 7. Mm-hmm. And I will guarantee you that religion is playing a part in that 18% difference between the heterosexual community and LGBTQAI individuals of color. And I'm sorry I got on my box, but
you're fine.
I just wanted to say that.
So let me say why I'm saying what I'm saying. Without shock value, this is my own personal opinion. This doesn't do with Easy, Dwayne, or Rainier, or Sierra. This is my own personal opinion. Without shock value, they don't get it. I've said this multiple times this week, so I just want to say it here because I know new people are listening. Without shock value, they don't get it because it clearly shows, because when he gave the real message, no one's seen it. I also feel like his message is not for our age group. There are people that are his age and younger that are watching him, that are getting the message that we don't get from our age bracket. It's for them because they're his fans. Honestly, I don't even when the Old Town Road came out, I wasn't a fan of it. Like, I mean, I was not a fan of it. I just wasn't something I was tuned into. But it wasn't for me. But these people that are coming under, and because I keep hearing it, they support this and they get the message that he's giving out. It's not for us. What he did do was give us a message in the middle of all the chaos. A lot of us missed it. So when I say what I'm saying this because when he's outlandish, we talk about it. When he actually gave us the message, because what that Sun Goes Down video gave, and I talked about it on this podcast, I literally watched myself in my bedroom. I seen the message. I can't look at the Sodom and Gomorrah thing because the Bible is so far behind me because of how much toxicness that came from it. I didn't get anything. I'm not a person that's going to jail, so I didn't get anything. But that one that was in the middle spoke so much to me because I see me sitting in my room, and I got the message from that because I literally experienced that. I understood it. So he made videos for everybody. We just missed it sometimes. That's all I'm saying.
I think that we have covered quite a bit tonight.
Yeah.
As it pertains to the topics and the inner and outer work that needs to be done within our community and outside of our community. Because I'm quite sure we're going to pick this back up next week because there'll be new developments, because it seems like every day there's something else that is developing.
Let me say one more thing. I also think that I'm glad you came, Rainier, because it also lets people who are not in this community understand we don't understand everything. From each letter of the alphabet that's in the LGBTQIA plus community, we don't understand everything. When it comes from a different letter in our own situation, we don't understand it. So we don't expect every person who's not in part of this community to understand everything. What we do want is for some type of understanding. So I thank you for coming, and actually even Sierra for coming, because it gives a broader perspective. It's not just from gay men. It gives all of us a perspective, different things. We all learned something today. We all learned something. Even if we didn't, we heard different things today. To me, that's amazing. So I just wanted to say that.
I know.
Yeah. And I did good. And I did good again today, y'all. I feel like I need an award.
What? Never mind.
We're not going to honor you for doing good one time. That's just not happening.
This is the second week. This is not one time. It's 2 weeks. Thank you.
The one time that you do things in decency and in order. I hate that phrase. Anyway, I do want to make sure that I give the space and platform for Sierra, our guest, Sierra, Dr. Rainier. If you want to mention, you don't have to, but if you want to mention where people can find you, you're more than welcome to, because this is a communal space and people want to gravitate towards good energy. And Sierra, we'll start with you since you are the newbie. If you want to, you don't have to. If you want people to know who you are, that's fine. Mystery about yourself is good. But if you want to, you can.
No, it's fine. You guys can follow me on Instagram and Twitter. I think both of my handles are Sierra Dello. That's SIERRADELO. I'm on both of those. Raising a little bit of hell, taking over the patriarchy one step at a time. So
hey,
you can catch me on both of those social media platforms.
Yes, thank you for coming in and being a fly on the wall, Dr. Rainier, beauty queen. She's your queen to me. Sorry, go ahead. Okay.
Thank you. I'm still shocked. So
I'm sorry. Please tell everybody what the actual category title, your crown, who you are, so they know.
I am Renair. I'm Renair. I'm in everywhere. So I'm just one word, and you can find me. I am now 3 things. I am Miss Exquisite Full Figured USA at Large 2021. I am Miss Full Figured USA at Large Cover Girl and Miss Full Figured USA at Large Fashionista.
Come on, titles.
All the titles. Let's give all of it.
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
very surprised.
Yes. But then also talk about your business and what you do, so people know you.
So I have a coaching and education practice called Pick Love Wellness, and I help people. I do 2 things. I do relationship wellness work. So I do workshops and coaching for people and couples who are looking to create a culture of love in their life, help build their self-esteem and things like that. I also do trainings and help people that deal with LGBTQ faith-based trauma. So I will also go into organizations. I've gone into a number of organizations and have a conversation with their staff on understanding where a lot of the bias comes from which is through the religious base. And we have, they have a educational conversation about it. And it's really to help them with awareness, especially as service providers. You have to serve people. And so who they are has nothing to do with the service that you provide to them. But maybe if you had a little bit of an awareness, and I think someone talked about it in the comments about helping them change the narrative, helping them open up just a little bit to the possibility of, even if this is what I believe, I can still move in respecting and doing the work that I'm there to do, period, regardless of what I believe. So that's what I do.
Thank you, Rainier.
Thank you for having me.
You said all names. You said all. They can find your all name. Your name is one.
Rainier, I'm in as one word, and I missed Sierra's at. So I'm gonna get that later because
I got you.
Send me y'all's link so I can put it in the description of the video.
Okay, I'm doing it right now.
There was a question in the chat I want to answer before we leave here. They asked what the AI plus means on the LGBTQIA plus.
Oh, here we go. What does the IA mean? I missed that. Yeah. Thank you, SoDebNair. Intersex is the I, and
A has a lot of different meanings.
Affirming, I think, or I'm sorry, Rainier, can you help me and chime in?
I thought it was asexual. Isn't it asexual?
Asexual.
There are allies, right?
Intersex.
And that's only 2 that I know.
Yeah.
Is there something else?
I'm going to Google.
That's it. It either means asexual or some people use it for allies. The I is typically intersex, and the Q also has dual as questioning or queer. The plus is just really because
the unknown.
Yes. And if you ask Niecy Nash, she says plus Niecy Nash.
Shout out to my sister if she has watched Niecy Nash. She is phenomenal, and she.
I love when she said that. When she said, I was like, "Girl, maybe I need to add plus me." Right? But I love when she said it. It was funny to me. I loved it.
Candace, you are welcome. We will definitely try to do as much as we can to educate our community, ourselves, and those that support us and that are allies. You're welcome for being able to put that out there. So, SoDebNair, you want to close us out, my friend?
Yes. And before I do, I got a letter today. we weren't able to do it today, and I knew we probably won't be able to do it next week. I might do it by myself. I got a letter today that I thought would be really, really good for us. Because this week I've been talking about the difference between gay black men and white gay people.
Ooh.
And what that looks like. Because there's a white gay men, they don't want to see us have emotions for whatever reason. So I've been talking about that, but there was a woman who hit me up, a white lady who hit me up today, and she sent me a letter today that was so amazing. It was so amazing what she wrote me today. I'm gonna give y'all that.
What did she write?
Okay,
Need
so
some
let's
tissue,
say,
friend? You need a moment?
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm trying to process this. The letter that she wrote me today was so amazing because it's so. What I'm doing on my what's going on my channel right now, the people that come from there over here have really been amazing. I have to celebrate them for a minute. I'm so sorry, y'all. These people watch this channel and they send me inboxes about what they learned from y'all. So when we decided to have this conversation today, this is why I thought, I was like, well, I don't want to do this by myself. I want to do it with you guys. There are some people who watch us and learn things from us. So I thought it was very important. But I got a letter today. I think that maybe we'll do the Dear Affairs of the Heart letter for next week. And I'm gonna prepare you guys for this before we do it. It is about the difference between black and white gay people. So I'll give y'all a whole week to think about it. But it was an amazing letter that I got today. And I want to make sure that we are able to address this because we did talk about black and white porn. So let's do this. And I'm gonna leave it there. So guys, if you guys want to subscribe to the channel, make sure you go ahead and subscribe. Click subscribe. Turn on the notifications. When you hit the notification, make sure you hit all. If you are joining late, comment below. Let us know what you thought about the video today. I think all of our it's not. Thank you, Queen Mermaid, and this is one of my favorite people. Make sure I gotta do this. I gotta make sure I tag. Do y'all want y'all social media tagged in the comments? I mean, in the description.
You can.
Because I don't know if y'all want y'all personal business down there.
No, it's fine.
We'll talk about this afterwards because that could be a little dangerous. I'm sorry. I'm just thinking about everything right now because that letter. Follow us everywhere. Everything's in the description, and we will see you guys next week.
All right.
I was like, where are we going? What is happening?
I was thinking, like, do y'all want me to? But we'll talk about it after this.
They know where to find us
out.
at.
Yeah. Thank you guys for tuning
We'll
in. So don't forget, as
thank you, Strick and Sharon. Oh, and y'all can become a member of the channel as well. Don't forget that.
Yes, you can become a member of the channel, and while DaBaby is mentioning it, I'll go ahead and throw it up there really quick. You can also donate to the channel if you'd like. We do have a Cash App that we are accepting. I'm sorry, it's covering Rainier's face right now. I love you. But there is a Cash
Y'all will
App.
not disrespect the queen.
Right. I'm sorry, sis. I apologize.
Not on my watch.
Not on my watch. She's gonna Vanna White the Cash App for us. Thank you. If you would like to donate to our podcast, if we mean anything to you, we appreciate it. Next week we're gonna talk about this a little bit more and kind of dive into more conversations regarding what our community is experiencing. Thank you all for tuning in. If you want any more information about us, just go to aothpodcast.com. And we will see you next week, same time, same place, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Thursday nights.
Maybe 8:15.
8:15 if SoDebNair needs a nap. And we appreciate you guys for tuning in. We'll check you next week. Have a good night. Have a safe weekend. We'll see you next week.